comes rum coming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer. Send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over, over there, over there, over there. Send the word over.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joshua Littrell. Thank you so much for joining here today on the Veterans for Cannabis podcast. Today is the Joshua and Joshua. We're going to call it the Two Joshes Show. Joshua Linney, how are you doing, sir?
I'm joshing around, buddy. How's it going?
Oh, just joshing good time, you know. I tell you what, Lenny, it's really exciting to have you here on a guest. You know, you are a host as well. So it's weird maybe to have the shoe on the other foot. I don't know. How does it feel to be on that side of it?
I'm just glad I don't have to think of any questions to ask.
Now you got to come up with the answers, right? First and foremost, Lenny, can you tell our listeners where you're calling in from? What geographic location in the world are you at today?
Yeah, Littrell, thanks again for having me on as a guest. It's an honor to be on the podcast here at VFC, hosted by, of course, Society Bites Radio. I'm located here in Bradenton, Florida. I'm a Florida native of Manatee County, and I live right here in Bradenton. Just got my first house last month.
Oh, man, congratulations, Lenny. That is a huge, huge accomplishment. I know that you're really excited about it, and we've been talking about it. I mean, it couldn't come to a better man, in my opinion. So I think that's really exciting, man. How does it feel to be a homeowner?
Oh, man, it's crazy. For those who don't know, I was homeless like pretty much most of the last year, couch surfing, thanks to my girlfriend, my mom, relatives, friends. I never spent a night on the streets. Or ever wondered if I was going to have a place to stay, unlike many of our brothers and sisters. But it's still kind of setting in that I won't ever have to move again unless I want to. I found an amazing woman whose aunt was a veteran who bought this home. She died and left it to the woman's mother. The woman's mother lived here for 30 years. She was active in the community, on the school board. And then this lady's mom passed away and she couldn't decide what to do. So she was going to rent it. She came down. It was full of mold. She cleaned it. She didn't want to sell it. I met her and she agreed to rent it to me and give me a chance to buy it over the next 24 months so I could take advantage of the vast rental benefits I have. So it was just a dream situation and it was absolute divine intervention.
Well, Lenny, I'll tell you right now, bro, the one of the things that, makes me appreciate you so much is the fact that you're willing to talk about and tell people what's going on, because many in our community, our brothers and sisters don't want to talk about the bad, right? It's only always the good. But You have never, ever pulled any punches on what's going on. And I cannot say thank you enough to you for being open and honest about what you face and what you're going through, because so many of us are just like that out there that are not talking about it. So thank you for opening up and telling us about that as well.
Littrell, thank you for saying that, because I sometimes I catch some stuff from other people who tell me that I talk too much about my personal life and people don't need to hear what's going on in the background and you shouldn't really share that kind of stuff. And, people think because you and I are on Facebook and they don't ever see the dirt on our face that we don't have it in the background. We're not getting dirty in here and it's not hard. We're not struggling. We're just as low in the dirt. We're just as deep in the trenches. And we are, if not more, hung out over the edge than everybody else trying to support our brothers and sisters. So I think it's ultimately our responsibility to be fully transparent with our brothers and sisters that we're going through the same struggles with anxiety and depression and agoraphobia. And, I've never had suicidal tendencies, thank God, knock on wood, but I can see where it would get there. And for us to act like it's not okay for us to be transparent and honest, I think does our brothers and sisters a disservice.
It does. And, Lenny, I'm one of those that has had those suicidal ideations before, and it's not fun. And it's the fact that in this time we're in with the COVID-19 and everything that's going on, the last couple of months have been a real struggle. I know to you and I, but to our veteran community, it's compounded, because the first thing they tell us is what? Don't isolate, don't draw back, right? How the hell are we supposed to do that during a COVID pandemic?
Protocol. Isolate, right? Don't contact anybody. It's the exact opposite. I mean, no wonder suicides are on the skyrocket, right?
Right, absolutely. But you know what? Let's move on to the more positive thing and what we're doing. Lenny, let's rock and roll, baby. You have really been working hard over the last 6 to 12 months, and you've done a lot of great things. And some new things have happened in your life. Not only a house, but you are on a hemp grow now. Is that correct?
Bro, let me tell you something. Thanks to Veterans for Cannabis, you, Mr. Luttrell, and the entire community in Florida that embraced me when I came in over 2 years ago now. We've been together. I now am the proud founder of a for-profit company, Consultants, that focuses on compliant agricultural networks for farmers here in Florida, Tennessee, and Texas at the moment. And then I have a nonprofit 501c3 federally approved to train our brothers and sisters how to live independently and be self-sufficient, cultivating hemp and medicinal plants so they can live independently.
Man, it's a phenomenal story. And the whole entire dichotomy of everything that we're looking at when we're dissecting things and how things progress. Lenny, yours has just been an amazing story to see how it comes to fruition. I mean, when you and I started talking a couple 3 years ago now, you were an IT guy that was just looking to try to make a mark and get involved in the cannabis industry. And now here you are with two separate entities that are focused around the cannabis industry. This is what it's about. And what did I say from the first time?
This is what we preached.
That's right. That's what I wanted you to do, was get involved. It doesn't matter what you do. Just get involved in this new space, because we have an opportunity to put a foot down, right, and get a foothold in a space that is open for, I don't want to say ripe for the taking, but it's open to anybody that's committed and has a drive to stay focused and stay attuned to what's happening in the cannabis industry, and then really just push your positive message forward. And you do that really well, and I appreciate that.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, for the people who listen to this podcast and think, well, I want to get a job in the cannabis industry, the best job I never took was being a volunteer with Veterans for Cannabis, coming on as a director of web development and then getting promoted to director of outreach, handling some fundraising. The connections I made, the partnerships I made, the network I created was what allowed me from nothing. Let me say that again, from nothing. I've still taken less than $500 in funding in my nonprofit from donations, and they're all been family, mine, my mom. I still haven't taken any money except for one check I worked for the Consultants. Yet I've helped half a dozen farmers. I have 4 active permits in the state that I've helped create. I've had a dozen veterans that have got hands-on experience training with cultivating hemp now in Florida. I have 3 of them that have started businesses that are coming on to be part of my next project here that we'll talk about soon. And all of that is a byproduct of my volunteerism. All of these other veterans have been empowered. And that's exactly what you and I focused on working towards when we first met, was empowering our brothers and sisters and sharing this information.
That's exactly right. So tell us what's new in the cannabis space before we move any further. Tell us about the Florida cannabis market. I mean, we had, 10, 12 applicants originally when we got the licenses issued out, and now there's like 130. I mean,
798 applications or something as of now. There's been over 600 approvals.
That's on the hemp side though. So let's
on the hemp side. Oh, with the medical cannabis side. So now I think we're up to 16. Wow. They're still dragging feet on issuing the additional licenses, which is, of course, supported by those people with vertical integration here. We're not getting any movement. It has unfortunately been joked about as being the dead horse here. And it almost feels like the stall tactics at the top are working. They're making people complacent. Now there's infighting. You got people who can't just look at the ultimate mission, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they can't keep their eye on the goal of helping everybody.
Yeah, it's supposed to be about the patients, right? Hey, that's what LINNEY and I talk about all the time. Hey, patients.
Yeah, and to see patients being put to the side because of profits. I mean, you got dispensaries in Florida that are firing the entire patient education team, the entire community outreach team, 30, 40 people gone because they're not increasing sales, because all they care about is a profit margin.
correct. That's exactly correct. And unfortunately, that's kind of the beast of burden, if you will. I mean, they are for-profit entities, and if they're not making profit, they can't stay in business. We get that. We see it all the time. But man, they will chew you up and spit you out, and then run right over you, and then back up and make sure they squill the tires on top of you, right? But tell us about the actual products, Lenny. Has product improvement happened, or is it just stagnant as well? What about different delivery methods? Are there other ones that are coming out and available?
So we still don't have any edibles in Florida. The closest thing we have is some mints from, I believe it's Curaleaf, cough drops if you really want to suck down all that menthol from True Leaf. And we have some interesting routes of transmission. We have great companies like Move that put out tinctures and topicals and transdermals, inhalation. They have a wide selection, but the product selection has not really expanded from 2-3 years ago. It's the same amount of products that we were available to then. They just have been labeling them differently and putting some extra terpenes in them. Right. And giving us something they call a different thing, but we're not really getting any additional products. We still can't shop by condition or by effectiveness or how it's gonna help me manage a symptom. They want me to choose which one's gonna make me feel relaxed or which one's gonna make me feel sleepy. Or it's unfortunate that there's not more medical.
I think you and I both know the medical side of it is kind of to the side. They're setting up for recreational. That's all. Sure, all this market is.
Sure.
Sure. But the hemp market, in the state of Florida, Nikki Fried, the commissioner, said she was going to do some neat things. Said she was going to do some progressive things. Yeah. Has she done it?
Well, we got a permit. I'm not sure. Other than that, you can say much has happened at all.
But there's so much buzz. Everybody's got a license. There's 100,000 processors. What's happening?
Nothing. Nothing is happening. Nothing successful is happening. There's not a lot of success. You have some companies like Green Earth Cannaceuticals, Gateway Organics. There's another nursery up there, Adams with. They're doing pretty good, but you don't hear any major success stories coming out of Florida, either in the back or on Facebook or in the media. There's nobody talking about any of those 600 active permits being successful, to the point to where I had Mrs. Bell, our director of cannabis, on my Wellness Pep Talk show July 15th when I did my planting, and she said at the time, of the over 400 and some 30 something or whatever permits was active, mine was the first active cultivation site she'd actually seen being planted. Now,
but Lenny, I mean, what's the holdup here? Because people have been really excited. Okay. I guess I digress.
Handcuffs, literal handcuffs.
I know handcuffs, but I also forgot about COVID for a moment. So I know that's probably put some dampers on it too. But tell us about the handcuffs, though.
So one of the issues with Florida was that they wanted to try to force farmers to use seeds that they felt were going to be the appropriate, and so they made this certified AOSCA certified seed recommendation that you can only grow something from AOSCA certified seeds, or a plant has to stem from one of those certified seeds. So the USDA at the federal level couldn't find any credibility to put anything like that in the federal farm bill. So why the state would choose to impose those kinds of restrictions on farmers?
Good question. Just
seems nonsensical. It seems like somebody needed only those seeds to be able to be sold. And for those who aren't aware, that means there's only one legal seed in Florida, and that is the AOSCA certified seed strain Goliath, or a variety of, which means only people selling that strain can sell to Florida, which to me seems like almost another form of vertical integration.
So what is the process to get seeds certified now? I mean, can somebody submit them to get the state to certify something other than that seed?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. So there are currently a couple pilot programs in the